Hey everybody, Egan here from Get Found Madison. We're talking about the local SEO checklist for 2018. These are the things you do to rank on top for Google for a local business in the coming year. If you want to learn more, you can text Get Found to 66866. That's Get Found, one word, to 66866. Alright, how many Google searches per day are there? At this point, we're at about 3.5 billion per day, and you can actually go to Internet Live Stats and watch how many have there been today. It's pretty interesting. And what percent of those are for local information? Best data we have back from 2015 shows it's about 40 to 50%. And on a smartphone, you could see how that could be even higher potentially. So what percent actually visited the store the same day? Well, Google did a study in 2014. They found if people searched from desktop, it was about a third of people who looked for local information actually went into a physical store that same day based on information they found. How about for a mobile phone? This one you'd think would be a bit higher because if you're on the go and you're looking for something specific, you're going to go there now. And sure enough, half of people who looked for local information on a smartphone set foot in store the same day. And of those on mobile looking for local information, how many do you think actually purchased? It was almost 1 in 5. This is from that same Google study. So it really matters to be found there. Another piece to think about here is where do searchers click? So when I search for, say, Pizza Madison, Wisconsin, the clicks are at the top. This is from a study from Advanced Web Ranking. You can actually look at this in real time as well, and you can look mobile versus desktop. I think I'm looking at desktop here. This is basically the top result gets about 30% or more of the clicks, and then half all the way down. So the top 3 get half the clicks combined, and then the top 5 get 66%. So you really need to be in those top 5 spots on the first page. We can look down at the bottom and see the second page, total, all 10 organic positions there get under 5% of the clicks, and then third page really on down there. So you really need to be at the first page of those top spots. That's not surprising. Probably in your own search behavior, you recognize Google's pretty good, and so we trust what they put at the top in general. Okay, so when we're a business, the first thing we need to think about for our SEO is keyword research. So how are people searching for us? Everyone Googles a little differently, and it's interesting to just ask, how would you look for something in this particular situation, and watch what people type in on their smartphone. So the first thing we need to do is brainstorm. And there's some tools that can help us do this, and we want to come up with a list of things we think people might Google. So the Google Auto Suggest itself is a great place to start. And by the way, if you Google a phrase and you put an asterisk in between the words, it can give you suggestions of words to put in between them. Another great thing is to scroll down to the bottom of the results and see what related searches appear. This is, again, Google's algorithm is seeing what other people search and similar types of searches. This is a good place to get other ideas. If you have lists of words, so for our clients, often say it's a landscaping company, they do landscaping, gardening, snow removal, lawn care, a litany of services or products, and then we want to see for Madison, near me, Middleton, Dane County, etc. And we can concatenate them together and get a longer list. And then the classic one to look at is basically Google AdWords Keyword Planner. We'll talk about getting the data out of it in a second. But you can enter in your product or service, and it'll give you some suggestions based on what other people are Googling. And then also you can just put in your landing page. A pro tip here is grab your competitor's URL, copy their domain from the top of your browser, and paste it in here and see what Google would recommend that they run Google AdWords for. And this gives you a sense of, here's some ways that people Google for what you do. Other free tools to check out, do Keyword.io, Ubersuggest, Suval, and Answer the Public. We'll talk about that last one more when we get to blogging. There are paid tools to try, and you can usually get these on free trials. So SEO agencies like us at Get Found Madison, we use some of these, and they have some opportunities. So for SEMrush, you can actually plug in your competitor's URL and see what they're ranking for and get ideas right there of, here's my competitor's website, where are they currently getting their organic traffic? Maybe I want to try to go after some of that. This is from Ahrefs, which is another paid SEO tool. It's pretty slick. You put in what you're doing, and it says, here's keywords that have the same terms. Websites high up for these also rank for similar things. Here's some search suggestions that come up, and here's newly discovered opportunities as well. This is from Moz Pro. This is their Keyword Explorer. It's pretty slick. It gives you an estimate also, not just on the volume and the range of the volume, but it also shows you how difficult do they think it would be to rank in the top page. Once you have a list of brainstorm keywords, then it's time to gather the data. So the one we used to go to really for this was the Google AdWords Keyword Planner. Again, Google's assuming you're going to run pay-per-click ads, but this data is also extremely valuable if you're going after that organic, the organic results that are not pay-per-click results, right? The problem here is now if you're not running Google AdWords ads, they actually just give you this broad range. So landscaping near me, snow removal near me, we get between 1,000 and 10,000 searches a month. Actually, landscaping near me gets between 10,000 and 100,000. That's such a broad range, it's basically worthless. If you run a few $100 of Google AdWords ads per month, then you can actually get the closer data. So now I see in this account, I can see the seasonality of it at top, but then I also see how many average searches per month. This is usually over the last 12 months averaged out by month. Are people searching for this phrase? And it also gives us the suggested bid. So if we ran a Google AdWords ad, we can see landscaping near me would cost almost $9 a click, which is not cheap. It gives you a sense of how valuable it is to really be on that first page, to be at the top for these results. Another thing to check out, I think you go to trends.google.com and you can see over time, are people searching for this more and more. So we get the backwards looking data, obviously, but it's interesting to see, hey, content marketing, that's kind of part and parcel of SEO here, or they relate to each other. We can see this has gotten more and more popular over the last 5 years. So this can be interesting to look at too, of is it trending up, or are more people looking for this phrase or using this phraseology? Okay, the absolute best free tool that we recommend is called Keywords Everywhere. It's a Chrome extension, and basically once you get it, once you set it up, you can get the data from Google AdWords, and it shows it in all kinds of places. So one is now in the latest version of it, when you are just doing that Google Auto Suggest to get ideas, it's actually plugging in and showing you how many searches per month, what's Google's estimated cost per click if you ran AdWords, and then what's the competitiveness, which is actually between 0 and 1. That's a scale of just how many people are bidding on it on AdWords. It gives you a sense of how much is it worth. Again, when you scroll down to the bottom of Google's result page, you can see the searches related to and get some more ideas there. And notice when I've got Keywords Everywhere installed, I can actually see the volume as well. And perhaps the slickest part I just discovered recently is if you click up in the corner of your browser and you click to the Keywords Everywhere extension that you've got set up, you can do bulk upload keywords, and now you can do what you used to be able to do in the Google AdWords Keyword Planner. So this is a great way to get that volume, and you can see the search volume, the recommended Google AdWords cost per click, and then how competitive is it. And this is where you get the data, and you actually see how many people a month are searching for what we do. Notice that this is, I think the default on this is looking by United States. So if you've got the AdWords Keyword Planner, I'm just going to go back to that for a second. This one you can actually set, I just want to look for my specific county, I want to look for my specific town, I want to look for these neighboring towns. So this is a good way, if I want to look at landscaping near me, 70 per month in this county, in Dane County where we're at in Madison, Wisconsin, that's a good way to do this. Not sure if there's a way to do that on Keywords Everywhere. Let me know in the comments if there is. Okay, so once you've got the data, then it's time to select your targets in terms of what are the ones we're interested in. Obviously, volume is of particular interest, of how many people a month are searching for this phrase. Is this how they look for what I do? Those are going to be our primary keywords we want to go after. Search intent is also important. An example I give is just thinking about that family lawyer, Madison, Wisconsin example. Imagine if someone's Googling for pro bono family lawyer, Madison, Wisconsin. If you don't do pro bono work, which means working for free, then that's not necessarily a good lead for you. So search intent, what are they doing? Another thing is, if I'm looking for digital cameras and I'm just, what's the best SLR digital camera or something like that, then I'm comparing different products. I'm not necessarily ready to buy just yet. I'm sort of in the research phase. I'm higher up in the funnel. And then difficulty to rank. To really assess that for SEO, you need those paid SEO tools we talked about. That's Moz Pro, Ahrefs, SEMrush. Any of those can sort of give you a sense of how stiff is the competition on page one and what are our chances to focus on this keyword and succeed. Also, when you've got your data, group it together. If you've got a number of terms that are pretty similar, go ahead and put them together, and those you'll have pages that specifically target those, and we'll talk about that. And then recognize the data is backwards facing. This is for the past 12 months, but it still gives us some indication of what to expect in the future, right? And then long tail searches. The best number we can find on this is something like 15% of searches are still brand new to Google. They've never seen them before. So if you're looking at previous data, it's not going to show you this, and this is still new searches that people do in the future that you potentially want to capture if they're pertinent to what you do, right? You want to show up for these results that Google's never even seen searches for before. So that's kind of a different way of thinking, but it's just realizing that all this research we're doing, we're getting to maybe 85-ish% of even what's the volume going to be. Plus, as more people come online and more people use search and search for more things, the data is going to increase, right? Or the search volume is going to go up even for existing terms. Okay, I think the next step is once we know our terms, we know the data, we have a sense of what's our target, we want to take stock of where we are with our SEO, particularly if we have an existing site. So in general, it's good to measure, improve, and measure, and just keep doing this, right? So when we test our rankings, the first thing we need to do is, if we're in Chrome, we need to go up in the corner and say new incognito window. That clears out what Google knows about us, basically, and it gives us a fresh search. We do this because we've been to our website before and Google knows it, especially if we're using Chrome, right? And sometimes when you go to your webpage or you search for yourself, you see a little gray phrase that says, you visited this site 5 times since November 1st or whatever it is. So you need to clear that out and get a sense of what other people are seeing when they look for what you do. This is the best way to see it. These paid SEO tools can also show you some rank tracking and say, here's how many are in the top 3 spots, the first page, the second page, etc. But you can also just check manually using the that incognito trick. If you are in Safari or Internet Explorer, there's usually a private option. It's the same sort of thing. It's a good sense to see just what slice of the pie SEO accounts for. A lot of times, organic traffic, SEO traffic, is a lot of it. So this is a pretty important channel. It's good to just know how many people coming to our website are finding us through search. And then you can also see over time, you can do segments in Google Analytics and say, okay, here's how many website visits we're getting, and also this is how many of them came from organic traffic. So the next free tool we want to talk about is what used to be called Google Webmaster Tools. It's now Google Search Console. You do have to verify that you own your site, so it can show you this data, and you can actually do that using Yoast SEO plugin for WordPress, which we'll talk about more in the future. This can show you a sample of the queries people are searching when they find your site. So it shows you the clicks, shows you impressions, which is just your link showed in the results, and then when we divide clicks by impressions, we can get the click percentage rate, basically, the click-through rate. And then average position on Google. There's a lot of debate in the SEO community about, is this the same as rank tracking? It's not exactly. If you have one of those paid SEO tools, you're going to notice that what they're reporting as the average rank is different than what you may see in Google Search Console. Also, if you just do a manual test in incognito, you may see something different as well. And it's normal of the results are fluctuating all the time. So something approaching an average position is good to know. There's no such thing as where am I ranking. It's not a static fixed thing, but this is one place to look. So when we go and say this law firm's Google Search Console account, we see something interesting, which is it's not people looking for attorneys in our area per se. It's actually these specific topics people are Googling about, and this is where we're showing up. So in this top one, the CCAP criminal background check, I can see there Google's reporting us at an average position on the right of 8, which means if, again, every spot we climb, we could probably double the traffic from this phrase. It's getting quite a few impressions, 3,500 in the last 28 days. So if we climb spots and, up to that old blog post that they wrote 3 years ago and really made it more robust and made sure the result looked good on the results page, that could be a way to earn some more traffic to the website. You can also look by page. So this is for a cleaning company, and I can see here on the top one, basically we've got our Spanish language jobs page. I can see on the right that we're on page 2. There's 10 results per page. So position 12.5 means if I could jump up a couple spots, maybe we could get some more traffic from this. We're getting 241 impressions per month, and we're on page 2. How many impressions could we maybe get? How many times could our link show if we were on page 1, right? Really powerful is when we combine these 2 free tools, Google Search Console and then Keywords Everywhere. Then we get the searches per month, which is that AdWords sort of data we were looking at, and then the estimated ad cost, which gives us a sense of how much are people bidding for these phrases, and then we get all the other ones we talked about. Impressions, how many times did our link show, how many times did people click, what's the percentage of those of the times that it showed that people clicked, and then where are we ranking. So here's an example. I have another business called Splendid Beast at splendidbeast.com, and we sell custom oil paintings of people's pets. So when I look in Google Search Console, I can see people are Googling for pet portraits, and when I look at my impressions, which is what I'm sorted by right now, so the third one from the right, I'm showing up 206 times in the last month or so, but I'm on position 11.8, which means I'm on page 2, right? And I can see on the far left of that top row that pet portraits gets 3,600 searches a month. So a lot of people are interested in getting portraits of their pet, but a lot of them are not even seeing the link to our site because our impressions are considerably lower than the actual monthly volume. That is why I love using keywords everywhere with Google Search Console. We can see basically, here's the opportunity. This is a phrase we really want to focus on. Here's examples of some of them. So people send in a picture of their dog or cat or their cats, and they can say, here's how I want it painted, and we send them an oil painting. So let's optimize the website. Once we know our phrases, right, it's time to get to work. The thing that we see here, at least in Madison, looking at people's websites, is they paid a web design agency to make them a very nice looking website, but they didn't really bother with the front door. And by that, I mean the title. So here's a bad example of a title description. This is actually another web design agency we talked to in town. This is what their homepage looked like on Google, and I'm hiding their name just so you don't see them. But basically, brandname.com, and then a description is not available. This is what the front door of their website looks. It's a quite gorgeous looking website, like we said, but is anyone even going to go to it if they happen to find them in the search results? Not based on this, right? So you really need to think about the front door. Here's a slightly better example. So when we Google for plumbers in Madison, Wisconsin, we can see, hey, people said right in the title, this is what I'm looking for, this is great. Notice the bold phrases then in the description where it says plumbing, that's in bold. That shows me if I search this in the top and I can see, yep, this is actually what this is. So this is better. We have some issues here in terms of the top one runs off the edge, it's missing a space in there. But what I do like is both of them have the keyword right at the beginning and then they've got their brand name later. I would suggest you may not even need your brand name in there. Here's what we have for ours, for getfoundmadison.com. Notice in the title, I don't even say Get Found Madison. If someone Googles us, Google can choose to show them Get Found Madison as our title, but otherwise, if people are searching for SEO companies in the area, this is what will show up. And so when we go into Yoast, we can actually edit our title, and we have about 60 characters, give or take, to work with. Here it's actually based on pixels, what they'll show. But basically, including spaces, try to shoot for 60. And work your keywords in there. In particular, work your most important keywords at the front of that homepage. This is an extremely important field for SEO, so don't skip on this, especially for your homepage. Think hard about what can we put in these 60 characters, and maybe let's not waste the space on our brand name. That's what I would suggest, especially if your brand name is the same as your domain name, which I would suggest it should be. When you choose your business name, you should be able to say it aloud, and someone should be able to go and type it in and go directly to it. You shouldn't have to explain, like, we spell it funny, we have a hyphen in here. It should be getfoundmadison.com. Someone goes and types it, and they can go directly to your site. Something like that. So if you're starting a new company, I would really think about that. Okay, so we've got our keywords in the title, and then in our description, we have 160 characters, including spaces, to work with. Again, this is a great place to work in keywords. The description technically does not help you rank higher for those keywords, but like we showed back with the plumbing, basically if someone searches for the phrase and the phrase is in your description, it'll show in bold. And seeing that in bold kind of makes you, when you're searching, you say, this is a good result for me. So this is the Yoast WordPress plugin. There's a free version, which is phenomenal. And once you know your keywords, you can say, here's my focus keyword for this page, and it will give you feedback, and you try to turn as many of these dots green as you can. So Yoast has a lot of the optimization built right into it, and you just have to say, here's my target, here's what I'm after, and it will give you feedback on here's what you need to change on this page. So these are amazing free SEO tools. You really don't need the paid ones per se. You can go a long way with these three. Get Google Search Console set up and verified so that Google knows you own the site. And you can, by the way, you can use Yoast to do that. There's a little code they say, put this on your website so we know you own the website. Well, you go into Yoast and just say, here's the meta tag for Google Search Console. There's also a Bing Webmaster Tools. A lot of people snicker about Bing. In the US, 1 in 5 searches is still done on Bing. So don't forget about it. And then keywords everywhere, obviously, we just strongly recommend having this plugin. And it's pretty interesting as you're Googling things just to see how many people a month search for this phrase. Site structure is something to think about. So we talked a lot about the homepage so far and what your title is on there. Each service or product you offer should have its own page. Google and Bing think in URLs. They crawl the web and index it in URLs. When you do a search on Google, all those 10 organic results it brings up, 10 give or take, those are all individual URLs. So individual pages are important, so we need to think about what pages should we even have on our site, and SEO should inform this. It's not like I built a website, I decided what pages I'm going to have, and now I'm going to do some SEO later. That's not ideal. You want to do your keyword research first and then determine, based on what people are searching for, that's going to determine what pages we even create. Any page that you want to show up in Google should probably be 1, and I'll say maybe 2 clicks away from the home page. We'll talk about why that is when we get to links. Each URL should have a target distinct phrase or set of related phrases. So the reason I say this is, if I know I want to rank for search engine optimization, which I do because we're an SEO company, I don't go through my site and just spam it with the words SEO and search engine optimization, optimize for search. I don't say that on every single page. I don't target that phrase as my target keyword in Yoast. I just do it for select pages. So I want to map out which pages will target which phrases or set of phrases. That's all I mean by this. And then you want to have clean URLs. So use real words. You're not going to have a bunch of gobbledygook numbers and letters. And specifically work your keywords in there and separate them by hyphens. And then don't include stop words in there. So these are small little words. Google doesn't even look at those, so just cut them out. Keep your URLs as short as possible. Don't include dates. Here's what we have. So we have a blog post about how to do keyword research. And here is the URL, getfoundmadison.com/keyword-research. Clean as can be, short as can be. It's okay if you also have /blog/keyword research. That's totally fine. But don't go much beyond that. Try not to go deep into a site structure where you've got this long URL that someone could never type. And this is telling Google that is what this page is about. People search for it. Yep, here's a URL with it. That's great. Let's talk about images. You should rename your images before you upload them. Similarly to URLs, you're going to use keywords and hyphens, and you're going to cut out the stop words. So for example, Best Pizza, Madison, Wisconsin, Salvatore's. Separated by hyphens, and that's the name of an image. Your name should still describe what the image is, but try to work in your keywords as best you can. And then before you go into Media Library and upload them into WordPress or whatever content management system you're using, resize the file. It's a very rare case you need an image 1 megabyte or larger. Even if you have a big hero image at the top of your site, don't be doing that. Resize it, get it down to a few hundred kilobytes or less, and then upload it. You can use compressor.io to even do lossless compression to make it smaller so that the site loads faster. Speed is really important. You can also use WP Smush or other free plugins in WordPress, and it'll help you compress the images once you upload them. Okay, also use alt attributes. This is just describing what the picture is of. This is actually for people with disabilities who are browsing the web and using alternative browsers. It'll tell them, hey, this is what this is a picture of. By the way, it's also telling Google this is what this is a picture of. So here's an example. In the media library, I've got my file name at the top, which I already changed before I even went into WordPress. I've got the title of the image, and then I've got the alt text describing who this is or what this is. We could improve this probably by saying SEO expert Egan Heath or something like that, but I just wanted to show here's the format. Describe what the image is, but also try to work in your keywords. Okay, let's talk about headers. On the right, you can just see an example from Search Engine Land. Basically, your headers should include keywords. You should be answering people's questions, so that as people are typing questions in Google, you want to have a header on your page that speaks specifically to what they asked. Make sure the one at the top is the primary one and have one H1 per page. You have H1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe through 6, all the way down, right? And then break up your subsections. Use H2 and H3 so that, one, you're just breaking up the text because no one wants to read a huge wall of text, a huge paragraph that goes on and on forever. Break up into smaller paragraphs, a few sentences per paragraph, and then every few paragraphs you should have a header saying, here's kind of the next topic we're talking about. And if it's phrased as a question, all the better, because questions are often what people are typing into Google or Bing. Okay, body text. Use your keywords at the top, use synonyms for them, and put them in the first sentence in the first paragraph in particular. That first paragraph really matters. Don't stuff your keywords throughout. Again, for me on our site, we're not just saying SEO, search engine optimization, optimize for search. We're not doing that throughout the entire site. We are using natural language. We're writing for humans, We're working our exact match keywords in there, but we don't need to say them over and over again to be repetitive and drive people crazy who actually try to read what we write. Google understands synonyms. And then this one's a little surprising to some people. Write long content. Go on for a long time. On Backlinko, Brian Dean analyzed with some other people 1 million Google search results and learned by correlation what seems to work at the top. And guess what? Out of these 1 million results, the people in those top spots had, between 1,950 and 2,000 words. That's pretty long. That's like an English paper, right? That's going on for a long time, and you should do it too. Be as verbose as possible, cover subtopics within it, but don't be thinking, hey, people are using mobile, people are using iPad, they don't read as much as they used to. It's okay. You want to feed as many words as you can to Google, and also you want to write in an engaging way so that people stay with you and stay on the page for a while. And then when you are linking throughout your site, your internal links matter. And what that hypertext is, it's often sort of the blue hyperlink, that matters as well. And when Google sees this on Neil Patel's blog, SEO and PPC, it's not saying this page that I'm on is about SEO and PPC. It's this page that this links to. When I click and go to that other page is about SEO and PPC. Likewise, lower down, we've got one for best CRM. That target page is potentially trying to rank for best CRM. So the web of links on your site matter, and you want a dense one. So aim high. Try to even have, I'd say, a few links per paragraph if that's appropriate, at least one. For many, it's you want to be linking throughout your site and telling Google, here's what this other page over here is all about. Google themselves did say they look at this and treat this as a ranking factor. Or to learn more, I should say, about what a site is about. Okay, it's time to talk about business listings. So Google My Business is the most obvious place to start, and this is the maps pack that shows up at the top when you do a local search. Also, if you're using Google Maps, these are the results you see. So you need to verify your listing. You'll get a postcard with a code, and then you say, yes, Google, this is where my business is based. This is where we operate. Just like we talked about with images for your website, use hyphens, separate the words, drop the stop words, describe what the image is, but also work in what you do and those phrases that you learn to target based on the data that you research, the search phrases, the queries that you looked up. Now, your business information needs to be immaculate, so choose one format for your NAP, your name, address, phone number. We should probably also say email, website, hours, etc. All your business information should match between your website and Google My Business and Yelp and everywhere else. Make sense? So choose a standard format. Either use Inc. or don't. Either say LLC or don't. Make sure when you're doing your address, you're saying it's suite, we're spelling it out, and we're saying suite 102. We're not doing ST period number 2, we're not doing number sign 102. We've decided we're going to say this is our address and suite number 102. If you have old phone numbers, make sure and go around the web and update them. There should be one phone number associated with your local business. If you have multiple locations, each location should have a Google My Business page and its own phone number. And last thing on that, the phone number should match the area code for where you are. So I'm from Minneapolis, I have a 612 area code, but when I started Get Found Madison, I used Sideline, which is an app on my phone, where I can get a 608 number ringing right to my phone. So whatever the local area code is, make sure you have that for your business that you're targeting for this local search. Be sure to ask for reviews on Google. People can review, write it. You can see back on these results on the right, those little stars, that's people's reviews, and you definitely want those. You can create a link using the White Spark Google Review Link Generator. There's a couple of these around. There's not a clear URL page, so it's not a page like, say, my Facebook page or something like that, so it's a little hard to get a link to this, which is good because other people don't do it. So you should get a link, and when you ask for reviews, send it to people so they have it. We actually have a review template we have a blog called Use This Review Template for Google Reviews. So Google that and you can see our template, and that'll give you an idea of how to do outreach to get them. Once people review you on Google, you should respond. If you go into business.google.com, you can go in and actually respond to what people say. You can also try out the new post feature. So we were giving this talk and we just said, hey, come check us out here, and people can sign up and go right to Eventbrite and sign up to hear us talk about this. So this is a brand new feature. We don't know if it affects SEO or anything yet, but it's another place to give some people information about what's going on. You could even plug your latest blog or whatever you're doing there. Okay, web aggregators. Google and Bing check out around the web. If you think of all the businesses that open and close all the time, here in Madison we have State Street, and when you walk down, you don't recognize half the businesses because they've already turned over in the last few months. So Google and Bing need to basically verify, yes, this business actually exists, this is their address, this is their phone number, website, yada yada. So these are the companies that Google and Bing check, and that also publish out to a lot of other directories around the web. You can do this manually for one business once per year. It's kind of time consuming, but it can be worth it. You can also just use paid third-party services, so Moz Local will do this for you and submit to a couple others as well. It'll make your Google My Business basically match what these have. Something like $100 a year, give or take. Bright Local can do it as well, and so can Yext. So if you would rather not spend the time and just put in the information once and then publish it out, you can do that using these tools. Now, there are other directories around the web as well, so you want to make sure you've got listings on the major ones. You want to clear out any duplicates for any of these. You don't ever want duplicates. Your business should be listed once, your location should be listed once on these websites. Fix any that are incorrect, and again, even if it's got ink and we're not using ink at the end of our company name, take it out of there. So Moz has citations by city, local citations by city. Business listings are also called citations in local SEO. So you can look, so for Madison, Yellow Pages, Yelp, Super Pages, you go down the list and make sure you're good on each of these sites. You can also look by category, which means by industry. So check out Moz's list of the top business listings for local SEO. These are the top directories for Madison that I'm showing here. Okay, it's time to go on to link building. This is probably the most important part of SEO, and it's the hardest part. So how did search engines used to work? Back in the day, we had Lycos and Alta Vista, and we could maybe say Yahoo, and they just crawled the web and said, what is on this page? Oh, this word is on this page? That must be what it's about. So what did people do? If they wanted to rank for a chiropractor in Wisconsin, they would just put that phrase over and over again and spam their site. They might even hide it. They would have a white background and white text, so no human read it, but these old search engines could read it. So they were just stuffing keywords throughout the site, right? Well, Google figured out a better way to do it. In the same sense that when you interview somebody, you ask them for referrals, Google figured out links. This is Larry Page, so we figured out PageRank. Here's a model of how it works. Each of these is a web page, and we can think the little purple ones are almost like little blogs that don't have any links to them. Someone just started last month, and the big red one is like the New York Times or another major site. And what we see is there's little ones in between. So for us, that might be the Cap Times or the Isthmus or something in Madison, or maybe the Wisconsin State Journal. And those are linking to each other with little blue hyperlinks around the web, right? Well, C is the orange one in the upper right, and we see that it just has one link. It has one little link but this major thing. They got one from the New York Times, and that's worth a lot because New York Times has lots of links. So there's like this decay factor, which is how many links are linking to you, and the websites that are linking to you, how many links do they have? So you really want links from authoritative websites. This is from Ahrefs, which is one of those paid SEO tools, and they did a study of 2 million keywords. And basically what they found is that links were the most important factor, hands down. At the bottom, in the orange, we can see keyword in title, keyword in H1, keyword in meta description, keyword in content. Those are all the things we talked about when we talked about optimizing the website. They don't even hold a candle to the number of websites that link to you, how many different pages link to you, and then how many backlinks those pages have as well. That's it. So if you think about all the time and effort you put into building your website or working with your web design agency to build a website, that was working on the little orange stuff that barely moves the needle. Necessary but not sufficient is how I would describe putting keyword in the title. What you really need to do is have a strategy to earn links from other websites. So we talked about business listings. How do we do this? We talked about business listings. That's a major way. You can go down a pretty long list and probably get at least 25 to 50 links from other websites. Social media profiles. Even if you're doing construction or you're doing something where there's no reason to be on Pinterest, set up a Pinterest account. Set up a free Pinterest account, have a YouTube channel, be on Instagram, go down the list of major social media sites, because all of those have valuable links you can set up. Just put in your logo, put in, the basics of what you need for a profile. You don't have to use every social media profile, every social media channel there is, but those links are valuable, and you should own your brand anyway, right? So set those up and link back to your site, because those are almost like the big ones, like the New York Times, we said. Guest blog posts are a great way to do this on an ongoing basis. Notice this part of SEO never stops and never ends, because your competitors are going to keep getting links from other websites too. So you need to get more links than them, and you need better links than them. Emphasis on the better links. So see where you can find guest blogging opportunities, and then you get to control also what is in that anchor text that links back to you, which is extremely valuable. Reach out to business partners, reach out to affiliates, people you pass business with, any business associations you're in, if you're in the Chamber of Commerce, and then any vendors too. If you write testimonials for anybody, make sure that if they post that testimonial on their website, have them link back to you. There's all kinds of ways to work this. One thing I will say is, as soon as I teach people about this in town, they often say, great, we'll get kind of this like circular linking scheme with, they link to us, we link to them. That doesn't necessarily help. You need one-way links coming from other websites, reputable ones with lots of links themselves, pointing to you. Earned media and PR is a big deal. Anytime someone's mentioning your brand, make sure that they are linking to you. You can do some Google searches. You can put your brand name in quotes and then do a space, minus sign, type out link, colon, and then put in your website, which means, Google, tell me where my brand is being mentioned, but then show me basically places where they're not linking to our website. That's one way to try to do that. Ahrefs and other tools have automated ways to also show you brand mentions that are not linked. And then you can reach out to those websites and say, hey, thanks for mentioning us. Please, would you mind adding a link back to our website? Okay. Haro is help a reporter out. That's this. This is a free service you can sign up for, and it's just journalists looking for sources to quote and things they're writing about. So here's an example. This is a digest I get in my email every day. Someone's looking for how to interview your cloud employer, targeting competitors' customers with digital ads, how to speed up your hiring process, yada, yada, yada. Most of them won't apply to you. That's okay. You want to look for ones that matter. Maybe you even set up email rules so that you send things to your primary box, your inbox, when they mention specific phrases. But this will give you some great ideas. So for us, we build links about SEO, and someone asked about SEO and advertising trend predictions for 2018. So here's what we responded with. We gave them a few hundred words. We had it nicely formatted. We used their first name. And at the end we said, hope this is helpful. Happy to answer questions. Links to our site help us. And I've got a signature, and lower down on the signature I've got a link to a headshot of me if they want to include a photo. I've got all my social profiles so they can mention us there. They often have specific asks too, of even just, hey, I'm looking for a time next week where we can talk on the phone a little bit about this. Be sure to read carefully whatever their request is, follow all the rules and respond to it exactly what they want, and give them nice little quotable bites that they can use in their piece. And then oftentimes you'll find they will link to you. Okay, it's time to talk about blogging and content creation, which is kind of part and parcel of links and also just good marketing in general. So blogging demonstrates your expertise and builds authority. I'm often amazed how, when I ask an audience how many people have a blog on their site and then how many people are actually updating it, it can be quite low. So this is a thing to definitely focus on. I'd say at least once a month. It shows search engines you update your site. Again, the more frequently the better, but don't kill yourself on it. And then do content marketing. This is a way to, again, build your expertise and say, hey, we give you this for free before we try to receive anything. A lot of people get a lot for free from us from our website, and then some people contact us of, hey, can you just do it for us? And then it creates opportunities to rank for other phrases. We talked about those long tail keywords. Imagine as people use voice search more and more commonly, right? They're going to ask their phone questions in natural human language, and it's going to be long phrases. So it's not anything that's going to come out of your keyword research from Google AdWord Keyword Planner or from Keywords Everywhere. it's going to be phrases you could never anticipate. So for those long tail keywords, you want very specific content addressing specific issues. This also creates linkable assets. So when we think about why would someone link to us, we run Google AdWords for people, we do social media marketing, we set up their analytics, we obviously do SEO, right? No one wants to just link to our service page. There's no reason they would want to. But if we have an asset like this that's, here's an SEO checklist, here's something you should know, here's basically a valuable white paper or whatever it is, a video of how to do something, then I've got a linkable asset and other people have a reason to link to it. So thinking again, we can think about PageRank in a sort of website by website way, but we should also really be thinking about it. Each of these bubbles is a page into itself. So let's look at an example. Again, if we're talking about local businesses, we've got our homepage. Most of the inbound links we have coming in from directories and social media and maybe other brand mentions. People just link to the homepage, right? Businessname.com. The homepage includes a link to my service page. We've got multiple services, but I just wanted to simplify this and say we've got one service page. And then we've got all these blog topics that dig in even more. So for us, for SEO, we've got one about keyword research. We've got one about on-site optimization. We've got one about blogging. We've got one about link building. And each of these then, where appropriate, links back to the service page. So that if anyone links to our keyword research or our SEO checklist blog post, which we encourage them to do, now we're building up some page rank on that site, and we want to pass some of the page rank immediately over to the service page that no one else is going to link to. That's our job. So we are basically using a combination of external links and internal links to build authority for the pages we want to rank. So that someone looks for a Google AdWords company in Wisconsin or something like that, then our service page can come up. And again, we're using the anchor text and internal linking whenever we can. And in particular, we're thinking even about that anchor text. It matters when we're guest blogging or we're anywhere else. So this is how the different pages connect, and what we say in that anchor text is important. And there's even some evidence that what is said around that. So in this case, that top one, searcher intent is everything when it comes to content for SEO and PPC. Searcher intent and all those words in that sentence could also, Google may or may not be taking that into account, so it's worth considering. Okay, what do we blog about? Anything you commonly hear, questions you're hearing more than once a month should have an answer. If you're emailing the same thing over and over again, stop. Write a blog post once, answer every aspect about what people are asking, and then just send people a link to that when they ask you that question. If people are asking things online, they're probably asking them locally too. So find out what people want to know about your industry and answer the question. A different way to take this is, your blog is not necessarily just for your potential clients or customers. It can also be for other people like you. It could be for your competitors in town. It could be for people like you in other cities, other countries, etc. So solve problems in your industry and share that knowledge, and then publish that out to industry associations and other people like you. And that could be, they would have a reason then to link to your site. Likewise, how-to guides, white papers, resources, how-to videos, that's all great stuff. How do we generate ideas for the blog? So Google Auto-Suggest we've looked at, related phrases, forums, things like Reddit, or if there's industry forums, check them out and see what people are asking on there. Maybe you answer a question on Reddit, or you answer a question on Quora, Quora, where people just ask questions and other people answer them and we upvote the best answers. Answer people's questions on Quora and then link back to your blog for more information if you have a specific post about whatever people asked. And then blog comment questions on other blogs as you encounter things that people who are really engaged, maybe they read a 1,500-word blog post, and you go to the bottom and here's what people are asking about this topic. That's gold. And maybe you want to write a whole response, and then you can respond on that blog and say, hey, I've got an answer over here. Answer the Public is an awesome free tool. You go to this, and this funny guy mills around and looks at you, and you say, I want to know more about whatever my industry is. Here's pest control as an example, and it shows me, here's all these questions around the web people are asking. This is just one of the wheels it shows you, so there's plenty to keep you busy here for years and years and years. Answer questions that people are asking. Put these questions right in the title, put them right in the header of your blog post, or answer multiple questions in subheaders in one blog post. Keep you busy for a long time. Okay. Time to talk about technical SEO. There are some technical pieces. I'll try not to get too deep into it, but here's some things to think about. So, your pages should load fast. This is true for humans and for search engines. There's basically a cutoff point where people won't wait anymore. They're going to click back out. especially on mobile, people are impatient, right? If they're coming from a Facebook or something like that, they're not going to wait long for your site to load. So the page should load quickly. It should be absolutely fantastic on mobile. We used to talk about things should be responsive. You laid your website out, it looked good on desktop, and then we had to make sure, okay, I guess it looks good on mobile too. No, it needs to be great on mobile going forward, because that's over half the searches are there now. Over half the traffic is there now. People are hanging out on their phones. Your site should be secure going forward. It was normal just to have HTTP for the start of your site. You really need to have a secure site now. Don't index any pages if they don't need to show up. So WordPress dynamically creates a lot of sort of back-end pages and URLs. You don't need all those showing up in Google search results. Likewise, if you have something behind a paywall or anything else where it's like, this has some other reason for people who come to our website, maybe for members or something like that, but there's no reason that people should come from Google right to this page, then don't index it. And then redirect any pages you move or delete. We'll talk about each of these a little more. For a local business, I think you should be under 3 seconds of load time for most pages. Google says 2 is good. 2 is what you want to go for. 2 seconds is pretty challenging on WordPress, because there's a lot of, with all the capability it has right out of the box, there's kind of a lot of extra code in there too, so it gets a little bit bloated. But you can definitely get it below 3 with the help of a developer. So you can check in your Google Analytics specifically how fast are our pages loading. I was horrified to find this for Splendid Beast, that our shop page on average was taking 12 seconds to load. How many people wait 12 seconds for something to load now? So we worked with the developer and we got this down. You can also look at Google's tool, PageSpeed Insights, which will give you some technical ideas about optimizing images, caching your browser, looking at server response time. These are all things you're going to need a technical developer's help with, and that's okay. It's worth investing in. GTmetrix is another great one. It can show you the load time, and you can actually say, I want to load it from Dallas, I want to load it from Hong Kong, I want to see how fast this loads, and it gives you all kinds of information. This is something to share with your developer or have a developer look at, say, how can we get it down? This is after we did our audit and we got it down for them. We had an average of 8 to 9 seconds, and we got it down under the 3 second mark. So it can be done in WordPress. You just need to work with the developer. Google operates on a mobile-first basis. That's how they're now indexing, and that's how you should think. When you design a new website, design it for mobile, and then make sure it looks good on desktop or laptop. That's backwards from how we used to think, but that's how we need to start thinking. You can test whether your site is mobile-friendly. I would suggest this is not enough. This is table stakes now. Your website needs to be mobile-friendly. There's no reason anyone should ever have to scroll left and right on a mobile phone. They should be able to scroll up and down and everything gets resized and looks good. The experience should be good as well. Google's mobile friendly test will not necessarily tell you that, so have friends, family, customers, competitors, whoever, have them pull up your site and use it in front of you and just give you feedback as they go. You're certain to learn a lot. So secure sites, right now you just sort of get a little warning in the corner of your browser when a site is not secure. This is going to get more and more in your face. We're going to start seeing red up there when someone's site is not secure, and Google is going to start demoting these in the search results. So what you want is to have a secure site, have SSL, or your URL at the beginning says HTTPS at the beginning. You can usually get this done for a few $100. Work with a developer on this too. Okay, make sure what pages are indexed. You want indexed. Any of these pages should actually show up in Google search results. Like we did with the link to check if people are linking to us, we can just say site, S-I-T-E, : paste in your URL or your domain, and it can say, here's everything we have. So if you see anything funny, take it out. If you see anything missing, make sure it's getting indexed. In Yoast, you can actually do this under the gear, and you can say, set this specific page because it's behind a paywall or a customer center, or it's just not a good page for people to come to for, cold from Google. Set it to no index. There's no reason to show those in there. Okay. If a page goes away, we need to fix all those broken links. Otherwise, it's going to send a 404 error and say page missing. So Google's going to crawl your site and say, whoops, we hit a dead end. And if that happens too many times, they're just going to leave. They're going to stop crawling the site. The bigger concern, I would say, is just passing that SEO value. We talked about how we're getting the link page rank from other websites and then passing it to important pages, and then that just breaks the chain. So we need to redirect anything that's missing. So if you use Screaming Frog SEO Spider, there's a free version of it, you can scan your site, check the HTML, and look at the status codes. 301 is okay. It means you moved it. That's what we want to add for any that are missing. 404 is not good. We want to find missing pages. 200 is good. Likewise, you can check in Google Search Console under crawl errors, and just see which ones are we not finding. And maybe for each of these, I export these and say, I want to redirect these. There's WordPress plugins that can help with that. You can often do it right from your host. Otherwise, have a developer help you. Okay. Once you've done all this, you want to measure, and particularly if you're in marketing, you want to show your boss, here's what we do, here's the value of this, right? Or if you're just in business and you own your own business, you want to see what's SEO doing for us. So we talked about we can see by channel over time, how are we doing on organic search, Google AdWords, direct to our site, email marketing, social media, any display ads, anything we're running. You can break it down by channel to see in Google Analytics, how are people getting to our site? And I want to look at that over time. So we set up dashboards in Google Data Studio that pull from Google Analytics and show us this. We want to see what our top page views are. We want to see entrances, which is how people are getting to the site. Are they starting on this page? And then I want to see our top SEO searches. This is just a sample from Google Search Console, but it's still worth knowing. Likewise, this is from a dashboard we set up. Google Search, so if we have Google Analytics goals set up, which we talk about in other videos and other blogs, basically we want to track, did people submit the contact form? Did they click an email? Did they click to call us? Did they ask for directions? Or did they click directions from the site and go right to Google Maps? Those are things we want to know. Those are all essentially leads or soft leads, right? Conversions on the site. Where are our conversions coming from? You should be measuring this in Google Analytics. And you can look by channel. And I think this is based on the last time they came to our site. They did an organic search, and then they submitted the contact form. That's good to know. Down at the bottom, we can see data from Google My Business, and you can get this out of business.google.com. We export it and then bring it into Google Data Studio as well. So we want to see how many searches are we showing up for in the maps, because not everyone even needs to go to our website anymore. But SEO still affects us showing up in that maps pack. So if it's a discovery search, it means they were looking for what we do, but they did not include our brand name. If it's a direct search, it means they were just looking for our brand name and we showed up in the map. And then down below, the phone call actions and the direction actions, you can see, and this is by location for a client that has 9 locations, 10 locations here. Basically, are people getting directions or calling us directly from Google's results? People don't even need to come to the website anymore because Google's giving them what they need from the results. You want to quantify that somehow because this is part of local SEO as well. Really digging in, and you don't have to spend a lot of time in these, but it's good to look at quarterly or even once a year, is how, for our conversions, which is again, someone clicking to call us, someone emailing us, filling out a contact form, setting an appointment, whatever it is, we want to see where are those coming from and how are the assisted conversions looking for. So this is how did people get to the site? They came direct to it, they typed it in, they used a bookmark, they came from email, they searched us on Google, they came from Google search. Referral is they clicked a link from another site. Social network is social media. Paid search is Google AdWords. Basically, how much are these channels contributing to the actions that we want people to take on our website? Here's another way of looking at this. This is in Google Analytics as well. So after assisted conversions, you can look at basically the multi-channel funnel path. So this is someone came direct to our site, someone searched us on Google, and then they came direct to our site later. But if you see organic search in here and then you see conversions on the right, you can see, yes, SEO is contributing to actual business leads. Thanks so much. Hope this is helpful. You can check out our blog post to learn more. You can also text GetFound to 66866 for more digital marketing resources. Otherwise, come on over to GetFound Madison blog and you can check out the local SEO checklist. Thanks a lot.